I'm going to turn now to another piece of shrewd analysis from Sir Bob Neill, who chairs the Justice Committee in the House of Commons. So you have a kind of oversight a lot of these issues around policing and so forth, Bob. Can I ask you, first of all, whether you think that Suella Braverman's position as Home Secretary is now untenable?
Yes, I think it is. I think she's gone over the line. And I was wondering about that earlier today. I'd hoped she might not have done. But it's part of a history of ill judgment and loose words. And of all the jobs in government, Home Secretary is one of those where you have to be particularly careful. And what concerns me, Andrew, if I can put it this way, is, was it by accident that these loose words were used just before this highly sensitive demonstration, where, as Natasha said, it's very difficult to remove someone immediately? Is that actually playing a matter of significant national concern to your own advantage?
So, in a sense, you would agree with Saisa Vasi, who says that in some of her words she's proved a bit of an arsonist. She is actually throwing petrol on the flames.
I don't know what her intentions are. I've always tried to work collaboratively with any colleagues, Suella included. But some of the language used was unhelpful. And I tell you what struck me. I was talking to some young police officers from my own borough. They're going to be moved up into central London to reinforce the police force. The sense that somehow they are not even-handed, because the language didn't talk about the strategy, they're entitled to know that any Home Secretary has their back. And when they're having a pretty nasty time, or they're going to, on those lines, I don't think that's the way I'm expecting a Conservative Home Secretary to behave.
Very interesting. And just on the detail of what you were saying about the police being, biased in favour of policing certain left-wing courses, the Black Lives Matter one that you mentioned, I think more than 350 people were arrested during that demonstration. And then, of course, there was the Sarah Everard demonstration. It's not clear to me that there has been a big distinction between the way the police have invigilated, as it were, right-wing protests and, as it were, left-wing ones.
No, and I don't pretend that any police force always gets everything right. But we do have to have a bit of sense of balance and actually go on the evidence of this. And that's why it's particularly important not to use a very loose type of, dare I say it with every respect, journalese, if you like.
As a journalist,
I hope you take it in that,
yes.
complimentary way.
Yes.
Inaccurate précis is not a good thing when you're in a very senior cabinet post. And my other concern, I just wanted to make the point, is this. I don't always agree with Mark Rowley, but he went and saw the Prime Minister, I think has acted entirely properly. The Prime Minister said, look, I've got concerns, I want some explanations. They had a private meeting. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
There was a statement afterwards, let's see. The point I'm making is this. I think the Home Secretary has compromised her own position going forward for this reason. If Mark Rowley has evidence between now and Remembrance Day that there is a threat to security, there is a proper reason for him applying to the Home Secretary to make an order to prohibit a march, she has prejudged the issue.
She has.
She'll be open to legal challenge.
And, Neil Basu said yesterday...
basic incompetence.
Basic incompetence. And Neil Basu said yesterday that was her asking Mark Rowley to break the law.
Yeah, I mean, there's a process. And I don't know what the evidence is that any of them have, but you have to respect the process. But if a Home Secretary puts themselves in a position where they're almost guaranteed to be subject to a legal challenge, that isn't good government. That's not being a competent minister.
So, for the sake of good policing, for the sake of his own position in government and reputation, then you think that Rishi Sunak should dismiss the Home Secretary and presumably do it quite quickly?
The timing is very difficult, but she has a very able Minister of State in Robert Jenrick, who's well capable of taking up the matters in the short term. And I've come rather reluctantly to it, because I want the Conservative Party to win the next election.
And to come together.
Yeah, and I've been a member of the party, forgive me, for 50-odd years, Andrew. Longer than many people on the back benches. I don't want us to lose. The Prime Minister's instincts are the right ones. And I think if actually he lances a boil here, he will have the support of the vast majority of backbenchers and actually of party members in the country. Because although we are a broad church, we still do respect loyalty. and the loyalty comes from people who are entrusted with positions by the Prime Minister, then to behave professionally.
Sir Bob, thank you very much indeed for coming on to LBC tonight to talk to me.